Have you ever wondered what it would be like if you could stop time? Imagine if you held in your hands the power to freeze the ticking hands of the clock, to halt the relentless march of seconds, minutes, and hours. Picture a world where everything around you is frozen, suspended in a state of perfect stillness, while you alone are free to move, to act, to think. This is the concept of stopping time. Now let's take this a step further. Suppose you had a device, a mechanism of some sort that could bring about this freeze frame reality, a gadget that could stop time for everything and everyone but you. An intriguing notion, isn't it? An idea straight out of science fiction, yet one that tickles our collective curiosity and stokes the embers of our imagination. When we think about stopping time, our minds often wander to the seemingly endless possibilities that this power could offer. We envision scenarios where we could use this ability to our advantage. Some might dream about using this time to catch up on sleep, to snatch a few extra hours of rest from the jaws of a busy schedule. Others might imagine themselves pulling off the perfect crime, robbing a bank in broad daylight while the world around them is none the wiser. And let's not forget the students among us who might see this as the ultimate way to cheat on an exam, to secure those elusive perfect scores without breaking a sweat. But are these scenarios truly what we would experience if we could stop time? Or are they simply figments of our imagination, conjured up by our minds in response to an impossible premise? Would we really be able to sleep while time is frozen? Could we actually rob a bank without being caught? And would stopping time really help us ace that test? But what would really happen if you stopped time? Let's delve deeper. Imagine you could freeze time just to get a few extra hours of sleep. Sounds appealing, right? But let's dive a little deeper into what that might entail. Our bodies operate on a 24-hour cycle known as the circadian rhythm. This biological clock regulates our sleep-wake cycle, digestion, body temperature, and even our mood. When the sun rises, our bodies produce hormones like cortisol to wake us up, and as night falls, the hormone melatonin steps in to help us sleep. This intricate dance of hormones is tied to the rotation of the Earth, the rise and fall of the sun, a rhythm that has been part of our biology since the dawn of human evolution. Now let's say you stop time at midnight for that extra sleep. While the rest of the world is frozen, your biological clock keeps ticking. You wake up feeling refreshed after your extra hours of sleep, but to your body, it's already time for lunch. You've essentially given yourself jet lag without even stepping on a plane, but the disruption doesn't stop there. Long-term manipulation of your sleep-wake cycle can lead to a host of health problems. Studies have shown that shift workers, who often work nights and sleep during the day, are at a higher risk for conditions like heart disease, diabetes, and even certain types of cancer. Their disrupted sleep patterns can also lead to mood disorders and cognitive impairment. Stopping time to sleep more might seem like a fantastic idea at first. Who wouldn't want a few extra hours in the day? But as we've seen, our bodies are complex systems finely tuned to the rhythms of the natural world. Messing with these rhythms can lead to unintended and potentially harmful consequences. Remember, sleep isn't just about quantity, it's about quality and timing. So, the next time you wish you could stop time to catch up on sleep, consider instead setting a regular sleep schedule and sticking to it. Your body and your circadian rhythm will thank you. So, catching up on sleep might not be as straightforward as you think. What if you used your power to stop time for something more nefarious, like robbing a bank? Now there's a thought that's crossed many minds. The allure of ill-gotten wealth without the fear of retribution is a tempting one. But let's delve a little deeper into the moral implications of this act. In a world where you alone can manipulate time, you essentially become the master of your universe. But with great power comes great responsibility. The decision to use such a power for personal gain, especially in a manner that harms others, brings up significant ethical questions. Is it right to use your unique abilities for deceit, theft, or harm? Does the absence of immediate consequences absolve you of guilt or responsibility? Consider this. You've robbed a bank, and with time stopped, you've avoided immediate capture. But what happens when time resumes? The bank's loss will be someone else's burden. It could mean a family loses their home, a business goes bankrupt, or an individual's life savings disappears. Even in a world frozen in time, actions have consequences. The fallout might not be immediate, but it will come. And beyond the tangible repercussions, there are also psychological effects to consider. In a world where you're the only one moving, the isolation can be overwhelming. You may have all the wealth in the world, but who would you share it with? Furthermore, the thrill of the crime might be intoxicating at first, but living with the knowledge of your actions can be a heavy burden to bear. Guilt and regret could become your constant companions. And remember, even in a world where time stands still, you can't escape your own conscience. So before you decide to play the role of a time-stopping criminal mastermind, remember that power should be used for the betterment of all, not just for personal gain. It's a lesson many powerful figures throughout history have had to learn the hard way. So, stopping time to commit a crime may not be as tempting as it initially appears. Could stopping time help you ace that tough exam? Now that's an intriguing question. Imagine you're sitting in the exam hall and you hit the pause button on the universe. Everyone and everything comes to a standstill, except you. The ticking clock is no longer a concern. You've got all the time in the world to figure out the answers. Sounds like a perfect plan, right? Well, not so fast. Let's take a closer look. First off, academic success isn't just about passing exams. It's about gaining knowledge, understanding concepts, and applying them effectively. It's about the process of learning, the journey, if you will, not just the destination. Now, if you stop time, you could technically spend an eternity reading textbooks and studying. But here's the catch. Understanding can't be rushed, even if time is on your side. Concepts need time to be absorbed, to be mulled over, to be connected with other ideas. It's a process that can't be hurried, even if the hands of the clock are frozen in place. And there's another aspect to consider. The satisfaction of acing an exam comes not just from the grade you get, but from the effort you put in. It's the late nights, the dog-eared textbooks, the aha moments when a difficult concept finally makes sense. It's knowing that you've worked hard, that you've earned your success. If you could stop time, that satisfaction would be lost. Also, let's not forget the importance of deadlines and time management in the academic sphere. They teach us discipline, they push us to prioritize, and they help us work under pressure. If time were no object, would we ever learn these valuable skills? So, in conclusion, while the idea of stopping time to ace an exam might seem tempting, it's not as straightforward as it seems. Knowledge and understanding can't be rushed, and the satisfaction of academic success comes from the journey, not just the result. So, even with all the time in the world, academic success isn't guaranteed. So, what would really happen if you could stop time? Well, let's recap. We've debunked the myths surrounding the power to stop time. It's not about catching up on sleep, pulling off a perfect crime, or even acing that tricky exam. But what's the real deal, you may ask? It's about understanding the implications of such a seemingly extraordinary power. Firstly, let's talk about the moral implications. Freezing time might sound like an absolute power, but with great power comes great responsibility. It's not just about what you could do, but about what you should do. The moral compass of right and wrong doesn't change, even if you can manipulate time. On a biological level, things get even more complex. While you might be immune to the freeze, your body isn't designed to function outside the constraints of time. Your cells, your brain, your heart, they all work in sync with the ticking clock. Disturbing this rhythm could lead to unforeseen consequences. And let's not forget the personal implications. Imagine being the only one moving while everyone and everything else is frozen. It could be a lonely and isolating experience. Humans are social creatures. We thrive on interaction and connection. In a world frozen in time, that connection would be lost. Moreover, there's a certain beauty in the flow of time, in the change of seasons, in the growth and decay, in the cycle of life and death. Stopping time would rob us of these experiences, these moments that make our lives meaningful. To wrap it up, the power to stop time is indeed a fascinating concept. It's a common trope in science fiction and fantasy, a dream power for many. But if we dig a little deeper, we realize it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's a power that comes with its own set of challenges and complications. The power to stop time might be a fascinating concept, but in reality, it may not be as beneficial or as exciting as we might imagine.